Welcome to season 6 of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. And this is a big moment for the podcast. Over the last 5 seasons, we've had inspiring conversations with high achieving women about leadership, career, purpose. But season 6 marks a turning point because we're taking everything deeper. This season is all about helping you express your own uniqueness. And by doing so, create a life and work fully aligned with who you are and your purpose. So it's not about finding purpose, chasing purpose. Instead, it's about making purpose every single day. And this new season marks a new chapter, not just for the podcast, but for what I'm now calling the movement we're building together, the PurposeMAKER movement. In our last episode, we talked about the 3 forms of misalignment. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to that episode, I encourage you to go back sometime later to bring today's episode into a broader context and give you a fuller picture. But you won't need it to understand, but it will help out if you go back. All right. So in that last episode, we talked about 3 forms of misalignment. They were when your achievements, identity, or purpose are out of sync with who you really are. And when I talked about that work with women who I've had in my workshops, many of them say that the purpose piece really hit home for them. And that idea of feeling disconnected from why you're doing what you're doing. And as a continuation of sorts from that episode, this episode that kicks off our new season, season 6, will take us even deeper. We're going to explore what happens when you're out of sync with your own uniqueness. We're going to explore why fulfillment feels just out of reach. And we're going to explore what it takes to close what I call the purpose gap. For years, we've all been taught to find our purpose as if it's out there somewhere, hiding in a job or in a title or in a career path or in someone else's definition of success. But after decades of research, reflection, learning, exploring, experience, and working with extraordinary women, I discovered something different. Your purpose isn't something you find, it's something you express. Your true purpose is already within you. It lives within your own uniqueness, your unique blend of your passions, your values, your natural abilities, and the way you are wired to serve. When you express that uniqueness in the world, you unlock meaning, fulfillment, and impact. And here's the key. If you're not expressing it, you're not in your true purpose. You're not in your true purpose, and you're in what I call the purpose gap. The purpose gap is the space between who you really are and how you're showing up in the world, how you're expressing yourself in the world. And it looks like this. You're successful, but it feels hollow. You're busy, but unfulfilled. You achieved everything they said would make you happy, and yet something's missing. And the bigger the gap becomes, the more disconnection, burnout, and self-doubt start creeping in. But here's the good news. Closing the gap doesn't mean starting all over, leaving everything behind, or quitting your career tomorrow. It means learning how to express more of your own uniqueness right where you are and intentionally designing paths that let your unique self shine through. If any of that sounds like you, today's episode is for you because I'm introducing this concept that's at the heart of my work and my upcoming book and the Purpose Maker movement. This concept of the purpose gap, what it is, why it happens, and how to close it. Before I explain what the purpose gap is in more detail, I want to tell you how I discovered it because I didn't come to this philosophy from theory. I came to it from living it. You may have heard episodes in the past where I share different parts of my career journey, and some of this may be familiar to you, but I want to give it to you in the context of my understanding and learning about this notion of the purpose gap. So my first big leadership role, my first professional job was a leadership role at a bank that I often talk about in Connecticut where I grew up. And it was everything I worked for. My family was proud, my colleagues respected me, and from the outside, it looked like success. But inside, something felt hollow. And that was the first time I became consciously aware of being out of an alignment with really who I was. I didn't have the language then, but I had the awareness. But it didn't stop there. After leaving the bank, I became an instructor for a program that helped women re enter the workforce. And I loved that role, and I was really good at it, and it felt meaningful. But circumstances beyond my control in that company eventually left me feeling stuck. And I found myself back in the purpose gap. And that was primarily because the company's values did not align with my values. So there I was now back in the purpose gap after doing that work for a few years. So then after that, I transitioned into social work, investigating cases of child abuse and neglect. It was a place where I knew I could make a difference and bring empathy and caring and kindness to the children who had those experiences. It was heartbreaking, yes, but I really believed I could make a difference. And I know I did. But even there, after several years of pouring myself into my work, I woke up one day realizing once again I was in the purpose gap. Then life handed me an even deeper turning point. My mother passed away suddenly from a heart attack. I adored her, and losing her sent me into an emotional tailspin. I entered into an identity crisis and found myself on a spiritual quest to make sense of life, death, meaning, and purpose. And still, even in my searching, I found myself in the purpose gap. Then, a couple years later, I went back to school as a graduate student in midlife, a decision that gave me the space to finally get some answers. I began to explore big questions about humanity, fulfillment, purpose. And by the time I had earned my master's degree and my PhD, I had discovered something life changing: how to close the purpose gap and to stay out of it. Through years of learning, reflection, and trial and error, I created a framework that I live by today and now teach others. And that's what brings us here, because I know I'm not the only one who's been through this. If any part of my story sounds familiar, I want you to know this: you're not broken and you're not alone. It's the purpose gap. The purpose gap is the space between who you really are and how you're showing up in the world. It's what happens when your life, your work, your business, your leadership, your career stop reflecting your own uniqueness, which is your unique blend of your passions, your values, your natural abilities that make you you. You might be achieving, very successful in achieving, but you still feel empty. You might be producing results, but they don't light you up. You might find yourself extremely busy and always working, but yet you're not fulfilled. And the longer you stay there, the heavier it gets. You start to question yourself. You wonder if you're in the wrong role, the wrong job, the wrong career, the wrong business, the wrong season, or the wrong fill in the blank for your situation. But, but, here's the good news: the purpose gap is not permanent. And it doesn't always require a drastic change or drastic changes. You close the gap by expressing more of your unique blend of your uniqueness right where you are, and by designing your life and work so you align with who you really are. So, after all those years that I just told you about in my career journey, trying to navigate my own purpose gaps, I realized something very powerful. Your purpose isn't something you find, it's something you express. And when you're not expressing your uniqueness, that I refer to as your own uniqueness, you're living in the purpose gap. And so that's why I created this purpose maker philosophy and the framework I share in my upcoming book, Becoming a Purpose Maker. Now, let me tell you what a purpose maker is. A purpose maker is someone who stops living, chasing, basing their life, work, business, career on someone else's definition of success. Someone who gets clear about their passions, their values, their natural abilities, and how they are wired to serve. And someone who is intentionally or who is intentional about designing a life and work that expresses their uniqueness in meaningful ways. And once I discovered this for myself, I realized I didn't need to keep searching for purpose outside of me. I needed to express who I already was. And when I started living from that place, everything shifted. Fulfillment, clarity, purpose, impact, all became natural byproducts. And that's what I want for you. And so this season of the podcast, season 6, is all about helping you close your purpose gap. You'll hear from incredible women who have faced crossroads, setbacks, breakthroughs, and who chose to lead and live in alignment with their uniqueness. Every guest this season embodies the same truth. When you stop performing and start expressing who you really are, everything changes. So, my hope is that this season doesn't just inspire you, but it also activates you into your own uniqueness and your true purpose. And so, if today's episode spoke to you, I want you to stay connected. Follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram, where I'll be giving more information as we get information about the book coming closer to coming out. I want you to be able to get early access, and I have some really exciting things coming that I'll be sharing there and some upcoming resources. So go ahead and follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram at Robin L. Owens, PhD, at Robin L. Owens, PhD. And I can't wait to tell you about all that's coming for the Purpose Maker community that is developing. And we're doing all this. I'm doing all this because this is what I know to be true. Your uniqueness isn't optional. It's the key to your fulfillment, to your purpose, to your impact. This is season 6. This is your time. And together we are closing the purpose gap. And until next time, this is Dr. Robin